H.P. Lovecraft wrote The Beast in the Cave in 1905. He was never very much a stable person. Through his life he had severe different breakdowns, which led to him not even going to pick up his diploma. His father actually died when he was 3 years old, and even his granddad died in 1904, and then a year later he wrote this short story. At this period of time, in 1905, he was the age of 14 years old. I would have never written anything like this at the age of 14. But that's a little backstory about what was happening when he wrote this book. Let's delve into a little bit more of the lore and the summary of this book. Within this story, we're put straight in the middle of the plot, so we have to start to uncover the story and how this character, our protagonist, managed to get there. We are seeing the events in real time, and everything which is happening is in first person. So our narrator is telling his emotions throughout the whole book. So our story starts with our protagonist being lost in a mammoth cave. It's like a labyrinth. It doesn't explain really how, but he manages to wander off from the path and away from his guide and his group to being lost in this cave. At some point in the story, his torch dies, and at this point he's just left by himself and the dark. But then he starts to hear the paws of some sort of beast, and this beast is the beast in the cave. At first he thinks it's the guide, but when he listens more clearly, he starts to realise he doesn't think that it's the guide, and it might be something else. And he starts to believe that he's going to die within this cave, as it starts to get closer and closer to him in the dark. Our protagonist tries to define what his creature looks like. He can't see it, but it's getting closer to him. But he's trying to imagine it. He's imagining figures in his mind, what his predator looks like. But then it gets so close in the dark, which he still can't see it, but he is cornered. At one point he goes back and he falls back against the wall, and he's trying to grasp things in the background, and he manages to pick up a rock of limestone. With this limestone in his hand, about to throw it, he's still thinking, what should I do? Should I scream for help? But he thinks that the creature might notice him better and start chasing against him. But then he cracks and throws the hard rock of limestone in the direction of the darkness, or where he can hear the paws pattering against the floor and the breathing of the beast in the darkness. When he hears the rock land, he hears the monster jump. Our protagonist still can't see the creature, but he realises that he has injured the beast. He has another rock in his hand, but he doesn't want to kill the beast. But instead, he runs as fast as he can in what he believes is the direction of where he came. But thankfully for our protagonist, he hears the metallic-like clicks of boots. These clicks and these noises, he knows, came from the guide. The guide tells our protagonist that he's been lost for 4 hours in this cave, and the guide has gone through many different paths in the labyrinth and retraced his steps to try and think of where he last saw our protagonist. After he finds the guide, he tells the guide about the beast and leads him towards the beast, or where he believes it fell. Now, they describe the beast as a kind of quadruped ape with snow-white fur, with long nail-like claws, and it says about the respiration of the beast as it's lying on this floor, injured, had grown very, very feeble. It's actually quite funny, because once they first see the beast, the guide actually pulls out his pistol, wanting to dispatch the beast, but he actually holds back when he hears a screech. This sound came from the beast, but they don't know how to describe it because it's so different to what is in the natural world, which was the result from whence the beast first saw the light, which has probably been a long, long time for the beast in the cave. Although it does say here that the sound was kind of like a deep-toned chattering. It also says that the beast had deep, jetty black eyes, which had been sunken into their orbits. After a few sounds from the beast, whatever our protagonist hit it and where he hits it with the rock, the creature, the beast, dies. As they are marvelling at this strange and interesting creature, they find out a really dark truth. As it says in the book, the creature I had killed, the strange beast of the unfathomed cave, was, or had at one time been, a man. Let's have a little discussion now about the beast in the cave, because this was the first ever short story that I read of H.P. Lovecraft. I didn't really know about H.P. Lovecraft at the time either. When I was reading this story, I felt like I was being pulled deeper and deeper and deeper into the cave. I felt like I was in the labyrinth, in the pitch black. I couldn't see. There was nothing there. I'm trying to find my way out. It felt like that. Very, very claustrophobic. And I thought it was a great story. But it wasn't until I learned about H.P. Lovecraft and about his story and about at the time when he was 14 years old, the things that he went through, losing his father and losing his granddad a year before he wrote this short story. Then I realised, okay, I can start to feel the emotion, the patterns. You just feel it. You feel it through the book. When you're reading it, you feel this closure. You feel solitude. I feel like the protagonist is H.P. Lovecraft. It is Howard. Alone. Solitude in life. And I love horror when it makes you feel deep and it makes you feel claustrophobic. It makes you feel like you're in such a tight space that you just want to break out, but you just physically can't. And then the minute when everything's okay, he finds the guide, it's like, whew, take a step back and it's just, you can breathe again. The whole book is tense through all the way until he meets the guide. I mean, sure, you could probably even say it's still tense even after he meets the guide, because they still haven't seen the beast at that point. But once they see the beast, and once they see, what it looks like, how it's got the snow white fur and its eyes are sunken into its orbits, it's amazing. It's just, it's knowledge, and it's what we know is it's fear of the unknown. And the gruesome truth and the horrific truth that we find out is that it's actually a man, or at some point it was a man. So the creature must have adapted to living in the residence of the cave. So this is kind of like, I want to say it's like a parallel story to like the protagonist. Maybe at some point, the beast, whether if he's a human or a man, at some point in time, he was in a similar situation. He got lost from his guide or something, and then spent 10, 20 years in the cave. And over time, he has adapted to the cave's environment, and he's changed. His fur, he's got thick fur. His eyes are deep jetty black, and sunken into orbits. That's probably similar to like, your pupils, getting bigger, because his eyes need to take in, more light, because there isn't a lot of light in the cave. So he is adapted and almost evolved within the residence in the cave. And it's really clever. It's very clever. A lot of people like about H.P. Lovecraft is the words that he uses. My favourite was itinerant menagerie. And I probably said it really badly there as well. Itinerant menagerie. That's it. Which is kind of like one of the circuses. Those strange circuses when they have like, beasts in like the cages and you go see them in like the carts and stuff. It's like one of those. And I had no idea at the time what it was, and I couldn't even say it, and I still can't say it pretty much because, I suffer with dyslexia. But H.P. Lovecraft's works, if you want to really home in on your dyslexia and just work on it, just learning new words, this is one of the best ways to do it. And because they're short stories, because sometimes after a while, I find reading, it hurts my head, my brain, I'm thinking, it's too much, the clogs are working, it's like they're being too rusty up there. But when you start to learn new words over and over and over again, you get better at it. So H.P. Lovecraft is great, and I definitely think The Beast in the Cave is a great start. Thank you very much for watching. You're watching Lockmore, as we're doing a lot more lore. That was a terrible pun. And I don't know, who do you Cthulhu? Out.